Right, I'm going to leave it there. There's people still joining, but I'm going to kick off now. So, yeah, welcome back, everyone. There's a whole lot of people that are familiar in the participants. So great to see you all back. Hope you're having a good start to the new year. For those of you that are new today, we set up these meetups because we know there's a lot of interest in jobs to be done. And we know that there's a lot of people that are interested in kind of sharing their experiences, learning how to use it and really learning how to apply it, which is what we're going to be seeing today. For those of you I've not met, my name is Ryan Garner. I'm a strategy director at 11FS, and we use jobs to be done a hell of a lot at 11FS. We help financial services businesses understand who they're really competing with and how to design propositions and launch those into the market. We've published loads of stuff around jobs to be done and product design. So if you head over to 11fs.com and browse through the content hub there, you'll find a whole load of free content you can download and read through. But let's move on to today. We have Nopadon joining us, and I've worked with Nopadon in the past, and he's an amazing digital marketer, loads of experience helping startups in that early stage, but a real expert in jobs to be done as well. So I'm really, really excited about having Nops here today.
Oh, come on, don't oversell this now.
No, it's not overselling at all. Like I've learned a lot from you working with you. So I'm really excited to hear you kind of go through what you've got to go through today. So do you want to give yourself a bit of an intro?
Yeah. So good to meet everyone. I'm Nopadon. I've been a sort of a growth or a digital marketer for 20 plus years. Been using jobs for maybe 4.5 years or a little bit more. But I just wanted to say I'm so psyched to be here because it's like coming home. It's like half the time when I'm doing presentations or talking about things, I never get to it because it takes an hour and a half to get through jobs, right? Before anybody can understand what you want to do. And so I'm so psyched to be in front of a jobs meetup so we can geek out on jobs.
Right.
But yeah, so before, so I've been using jobs. I was introduced to jobs from a mate of mine. I used to be the growth hacker in residence for a venture firm called 500 Startups, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's like the most active seed stage investor in the world. And I ran basically a growth program for them, where a 12-week program where we would sort of help scale their growth. And in that time, my colleague Diego was the one who turned me on to jobs. And what we did was, because we had such a short amount of time with these guys, we had to sort of short circuit and do sort of almost like a minimum viable jobs. Just try to distill some of the stuff that we found most powerful, so they'd be able to make progress and use it right away. And you'll see from my presentation currently, I'm a partner of a company called Startup Core Strengths, which is essentially it is a 12-week cohort-based program for seed stage and Series A companies, where we work with them to sort of scale their growth. And yes, jobs is a part of it, but we don't necessarily call it jobs because people don't like to eat their vegetables. And so you have to trick them into eating it by calling it user psychology and insights.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm super excited about this because it takes jobs theory and it applies it to actually getting results, especially for kind of new propositions and ventures that you work on today. Before we dive into Nops' presentation, everyone that's here now, you can use the chat function. Please send your messages to panelists and attendees. That way everyone can see your message, your question. If you've got any questions as we're kind of going through Nops's approach, then put it in the chat. Don't use the Q&A, which is what we have used in the past. I think the chat is much more kind of personal, so pop it in there and I'll get through as much of that as I can as we go through today. So Nops, do you want to give us a background and intro to like the approach you've got and how that works?
Yeah, I mean, I take it if people register this, they're probably thinking about landing pages or working with landing pages or struggled with landing pages. The beauty is, like, if you're using jobs, if you have some jobs experience, these pages will write themselves, right? And so today, there's some stuff we're going to cover specifically around how to roll these out really quick. The types of questions I typically sort of ask in order to elicit some of the answers for the 4 forces. Then, as a side, if we have time, I want to sort of show people how to quickly de-risk, quickly overcome comprehension issues, and quickly find sort of winning propositions if you've got you don't have a lot of money. Because, like, again, my background is I'm working with seed stage startups. So if any of you in a startup, you know, like, come on, time is not on your side, right? You got runway, burn rate, and you have to move quickly. And so a lot of what we'll do today is about being directionally correct. It's not about being perfect. It's about being scrappy and getting something in front of people to validate.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, and I've seen the approach before, and it's great. So I'd love to dig into it in a lot more detail. But that whole point around, you know, blending jobs to be done in the 4 forces into a real life kind of landing page and getting that to kind of drive real life metrics and conversion rates and stuff, I think is.
Well, yeah, I mean, people use it for product, right? And it's, you know, for those of you, you're like, yes, growth is marketing and product. But what I've always wondered is, like, there's jobs is made for marketing, you know, content, SEO, nurturing, all of that is like, if you're using jobs, you know, it's like a superpower. It's a superpower for marketers.
Yeah. And we've had Bob on the show talking about that very thing, you know, talking about demand side sales and marketing and how to bring those things together. So yeah, completely agree. And I use it a lot for product design, but absolutely is a huge product marketing side to this as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Great. So do you want to give us an overview of the kind of process you go through? So there's the jobs to be done bit at the start. So there's a bit of a research element of understanding the kind of 4 forces with customers. But then be interesting to see how you go from that towards this kind of creating a landing page effectively. How do you transition that, and what's the process you go through?
So I don't know, do you want to do it now or later? I have a presentation that will actually walk people through that, right? We'll show them how to do that.
Let's just dive straight into it. Let's go.
Yeah. Let me share my screen and then we'll just get into it. Thumbs up if you can see it, please. Or
yeah,
can
see it.
Awesome. Okay. So so a little bit of a caveat, right? So I'm going to tell you right now. So there's going to be researchers in the audience, and there's going to be designers who are going to be shaking their head. Okay? I'm not a designer, and I'm not Ollie. I'm not a professional researcher, right? So so today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about using jobs, right, to craft landing pages that really convert. I'm going to show you. I'm going to do it in 15 minutes, and there is a reason why we time box it to 15 minutes. And then I'm going to show you exactly the 4 forces is for landing pages. Come on. I'm going to show you how we're going to utilize the four forces to do that. And then the last bit is we're going to show you quick ways to overcome comprehension issues and hopefully get less bounces on your landing pages. I've mentioned this, a former EIR for City Ventures, growth hacker in residence, and I've worked with over. Oh, by the way, you can see at point number 6, I'm award winning, and that's my award. I'm very proud of it.
Unsurprising as well. Unsurprising.
Okay, so who are you guys, right? So look, to be able to move forward with this, to make some progress, you understand some of the core principles of jobs. Particularly, you understand outcomes, right? And all other levels: functional, emotional, social. You understand alternative solutions, consideration sets, right? And how to identify that when talking to people. And of course, I hope all of you know, I mean, I'm just calling it pain, promise, anxiety, and inertia, but like the four forces, okay? Yeah. How they work. The asterisks, you must be doing customer interviews. Like you can guess, and your page will probably be rubbish, right? And so the point of doing the interviews is, guys, like, you don't even need a copywriter. Like Ryan and I were just talking about this. If you've done your interviews, you're using your customer's language, the page will write itself, right? There should be no sort of thinking about, should we say it this way? No, just use what they're telling you.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the big benefits of jobs to be done. You know, you really understand the customer language, and that's really why you're doing the interviews. You're obviously trying to find the four forces, but you know, in business, we use business terms so much. Even researchers who are kind of talking to customers all the time use business language. So, you know, you get the real kind of customer language coming through in those interviews, and it's super valuable for copywriting.
Well, I mean, come on, like what's the famous, nobody wants to buy a 1/4-inch drill, they want the 1/4-inch hole, right? How many sites do you see that just talk about AI or blockchain and it's like, no one cares, right? Like, how are you going to help them? How is it going to solve their problem? And so people, lots of companies tend to get obsessed with talking about what they do, right? Okay, so interviews, super quick. You guys probably know how to do jobs interviews. Specifically, the things that I'm listening for, obviously, particularly for landing pages, is I have a keen ear listening for the four forces and some of the outcomes, right? And so some of the things I might ask, right, is like, hey, like, what does this thing allow you to do? Why are you buying this? What is it going to allow you to do? Now, this is an easy question to ask. And what I find that a lot of people struggle with is what to listen for. And you're going to get, oh, I like this feature. I like that feature. I like that it does this thing. Don't get stuck on that. Forget features. Forget it. Like if they start talking about, well, it's one click. Forget it. What are they trying to achieve? What's the goal? Where are they trying to get to? And so if you start hearing a bunch of things that are very surface about features, this and that, keep digging. I think what a lot of people miss as well is, what is the context? What are they trying, like in that moment, what are they trying to do? Right?
Yeah.
What is going on?
And this is a big thing that that kind of really got me thinking about the jobs we've done when I first introduced it. And is one of the things that Clayton Christian said is the unit of analysis is not the individual, not the customer, it's the context. And I was kind of blown away by that to start with, because we were always trained to understand the customer, target things to customers, right? But this is a really, really, really important point. You know, you target the context, you target the circumstances within which the need arises. And I think that's
people get caught up on context, and the way I like to sort of break it down for the startups is like, hey, you know, Ryan was happy. Okay. And then all of a sudden he was unhappy. Or, so what happened? At that moment, what changed in his life that he was like, okay, oblivious, or, you know, fine. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, not fine. This will not do. What is that? What is the context? What's happening? Again, if they're looking at you, if you're talking to someone who's just recently signed up, what's the benefit? Why, what is this benefit? Why is it important to you? Right. I tend at this point to really try to listen out for the emotional and social stuff, because the functional stuff comes out with what does it allow you to do, but like the benefit. And they're saying, well, I just feel confident, and you keep digging, right? Really to sort of combat sort of the anxiety and the inertia. I might throw in something like, hey, well, how long have you been kicking around this idea? How long have you been thinking about this purchase? And I want to listen. I want to hear what is like, why are they dragging their feet? What is so hard? What are all the trade-offs? What's happening, right? And this, like I said, these are just a sample. And like, obviously this is not one size fits all. It doesn't fit every situation, but I just want to give you a flavor of the types of questions and what to listen for so that you can apply these to the landing pages. All right. Enough chit chat. Let's get into it. All right. So the 15-minute landing page, seriously, it's not a gimmick, right? The reason we call it the 15-minute landing page is literally do not spend more than 15 minutes on it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to throw it out, because you're going to you're going to find out, like, we'll get to techniques later on in the slides that will measure comprehension. And I'm telling you right now, don't use PowerPoint, use Google Docs, use whatever, Balsamic, use whatever. Spend no more time box it, because honestly, how long could you spend on creating a landing page? You
could spend a week on
it.
You
could spend a week, right? You could spend several hours a day or whatever. How likely are you to throw it out if you spent a day on it? Not very likely, right? I swear to God, do not spend more than 15 minutes on this. All right. What I want you to think about is the context, traffic, and the call to action. What are you building this landing page for? Where are people going to be coming from? Is it social? Is it search? What is it? How are they getting there? And that's important, right? And I want you to consider the call to action. What's the appropriate call to action for what you're, you trying to get someone to sign up for a financial product, off of a landing page? Good luck with that. Let me know how that goes, right? So is it learn more? Is it like download a guide? Is it like, right, like appropriate level of call to action for what you're asking for?
Yeah.
And what I have on the right is this ugly little thing that I just slapped up like just a couple minutes ago. And this is pretty much what I would get going with, right? Now, you've done your jobs to be done work. And yes, designers are like cringing right now. This is very formulaic, but it's enough to get you directionally correct. It's enough to validate or invalidate what you're thinking. Headline it could be as simple as just the job to be done expressed as a benefit, or it's the outcome expressed as a benefit. My partner, Matt, likes to write it in the first person using the customer's own words, right? And again, like people try to get super creative about this, but why are you there? You're there to help them make progress. And what progress do they want to make? I don't know, like there's a concept, it's called information foraging. And essentially what it means is like, am I getting warmer or colder? Yep. If you make me think, if you make me work, and I feel like AI, what? We're like AI, what are you talking about? Cold, gone.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of people think about this in terms of like a consumer proposition, but this also applies to business propositions as well, right?
Yeah. No. Look, who's buying the product? A business? No, a person at the other end is buying it. And that person who's buying it has anxieties, has goals and outcomes, right? Okay. So the the sub headline, look, don't get like cute, don't get creative. Just answer this question. What is it? Who is this for?
Yeah.
And like, how do I benefit from this? Literally, if you just answer those questions, you are 80, 90% better than most landing pages already. Do not overthink this. Just answer these questions. Yes, wordsmith it, make it a little bit nice, whatever. But like, honestly, just answer those questions. Then you're going to, if you have it, want some sort of social proof, right? Some trust logos, Trustpilot, clients, testimonials, if you can, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you look on the right, like number 4, I've got my like testimonial. What I see so many people cock up and get wrong, and I get it, right? You have a customer that says something nice and you want to put it up there. But how many times do I see that testimonial doesn't actually align with the job or the outcome that the person wants?
Yeah.
Like if the thing is about like, the outcome is I want to, feel confident about da 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 da. And then you see the testimonial say it was easy to use. It was, and the amount of times I see case studies, the amount of times I see testimonials that don't actually compound or reaffirm basically the message, the goal that you're trying to show people that you do. And it happens all the time. And finally, again, like people have a tendency to talk about features. So I tend to say, guys, show me like your two or three killer features that will help people with this job. But don't talk about the feature. Don't talk about the feature. Talk about the benefit.
Yeah.
Right? We don't buy the feature. We buy the perceived benefit. Right? So make sure that language highlights the benefit instead of saying dashboard. Well, like, so what? What the hell? Like, so what? Dashboard. Oh, like have everything in one place so you're able to, see what's going on. Right? And then towards the end, towards the bottom of the page, you're really now getting into sort of what we call like the slow and methodical. You've earned the 3 to 5 seconds. Congratulations. They'll probably invest another 7 to 10 seconds. And this is where you can go into a little bit more depth. What is it? How does it work? Right. And I tend to like to finish the page also with an FAQ. I can tell you how we can we can create that FAQ later, but and that is the 15 minutes. And I'm going to show you when you put this down, Ryan. When we did this, right?
Yeah.
I think we might have even been less than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you could, like, how easy was it to just put these things in place because we had the information in front of us?
Exactly. You've done good research. You've got everything kind of organized into your 4 forces. You're just kind of picking and slotting it in. I think one of the things to mention, some questions just coming through. One of the things to mention is that when Nopadon is talking about putting this together in 15 minutes, this is done in PowerPoint or Chrome, or Google Docs to test comprehension. You'd put it in front of someone whilst waiting for a coffee. This is not to put on a website yet. So the question from Martin, how important is it to fit all of this in 15 minutes? You can do this in 15 minutes because this is not going to go on your website straight away.
No, and we're going to get directionally correct with this.
Yeah.
Again, this first iteration, if you've never done this before, you're going to be off, and you're going to throw it away. And surprise, people don't read. Surprise, like people's eyes get drawn to the particular logo, or they don't. And you'll figure. I'll show you in about 3 or 4 slides how we do that. Yeah.
And do you get different members of the team to kind of do one each? So with the startups you're working with, I suspect you've got engineers and product people and designers, and, do they come up with different things, and how do you kind of bring that together?
We can, and I think it's a great exercise for everyone to sort of be aligned. But that being said, because the interview results are there and everything's in front of people, aren't going to veer too far off because they're working off of the research that you've just done.
Yeah.
So if someone comes from totally left field with that, it's like, well, how do you justify that? Where's that? Like, where in the research has anyone said like they wanted to do that?
Yeah.
But you could be wrong, right? But like, generally, it's like you don't get too far. So I wanted to throw up just quickly a couple of landing pages that, by the way, this is super hard, finding landing pages that you think are like the bee's knees. And surprise, here's a company that thinks about landing pages all day. right? And imagine that they actually have a very good landing page.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the headline real quick. What do you think, Ryan?
Headline: converts more customers. Well, yeah, I guess if I was, in the business for kind of
If you're
creating
looking for landing pages, then
yeah, I'd want to convert more customers. That's talking straight to me. Create
um,
custom landing pages with unbounced, no coding required.
let's
So
let's 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 answer the question. What is it? Who is it for? What's the benefit? So read that again.
Benefits: no code required. Create custom landing pages so I can.
That's what it is.
To my product. That's what it is. It converts more customers.
The who is it for, I think, is interesting because it's no code required.
Yeah, I guess marketers then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they could say like for marketing people, but like, I mean, no code required. That's me. I can't code.
Yeah.
Right? And they've got like 28% conversion. Yeah, they got their little trust logos here. The #1 landing page for 15,000 brands. This is super interesting. And we're going to get into more detail when we start talking about the 4 forces. But this is their sort of like feature area, right? When we were talking about like the benefits. And I'll leave it up for a second. So like what they're saying here is build any page on your own.
Yeah.
Create the exact page you want. Now you can begin to think, why are they saying that? And so when we start getting into sort of 4 forces, it'll become pretty clear, right?
Yeah.
And then continually grow your ROI. Yeah, here there's like get built an AI conversion power, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But most people be tempted to be like AI too. It's like, no. What is the pain?
Yeah.
And what's the promise? Right.
Yeah,
so they've been very clever with this. This is like if you click into with the solutions, they have solutions obviously for, again, I think this one was for e-commerce or something. No, it wasn't e-commerce. I can't remember. But again, brilliant. So fuel growth. Now maybe people in our audience don't feel this. I'm constantly struggling with landing pages, and I'm not a designer, and so these are things that I struggle with. So it resonates with me for sure. Running campaigns is the old way, is a ton of work, right? So here, like I put in the red, they didn't put this. So again, features. This is where people would say templates galore, right? No, they start off by saying your one size fits all website doesn't convert. And if you get into it, SaaS websites often have dozens of distractions, and so they're talking about creating landing pages bespoke that speak to your customers, right?
Yeah.
And again, driven by that outcome, that pain. This is where people love to say drag and drop interface, right, as the feature. Right?
Yeah.
But this is such, I feel this is, your devs are too busy. And here it says like, you're having to rely on front end dev to do this thing. And again, they could simply talk about drag and drop, blah, 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 blah. And it's just more marketing speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here they've really at least punched me in the face when it comes to this particular pain. It's like, oh yeah, having to sort of crawl on my knees to the dev to like beg for a landing page.
Yeah.
And again, this is where people talk about, oh, lead forms, customizable lead forms. No. Again, they're talking about your sales teams are always hungry for more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exceptionally well done.
I think this is interesting because how does this play into SEO and building SEO for your website? Because are people searching for lead forms, or are they saying or drag and drop, or are they saying how do I build a website because I've got no devs or my devs are too busy?
Yeah, and I suspect so each of these features, right, will have its own. So like this drag and drop area in the feature area, right? If I were building it from an SEO purpose, would have that feature optimized probably for whatever it is, drag and drop or customizable, whatever. But on the homepage, like you're not going to optimize, or not. This is not the homepage, but for this particular landing page, you're not going to optimize for all 3 of these things from a search perspective, particularly if it's a landing page, right?
Okay.
Everyone knows these guys, right?
Yeah.
They're a job shop, right? Yeah, you told me they're a job they're a job
Yeah,
shop.
yeah. They're
It's like
very
Intercom. Intercom is a job shop, but I was not actually that happy with their landing pages for some reason. Again, what's the formula, guys, for the headline, right?
What was the question? Sorry.
The formula for what your headline.
Oh, right. Job written as a benefit.
Yeah. Right.
Work better together. Yeah.
Yeah. Subheadline again. What questions are they answering? What is it? Oh, it's a project management tool.
Yeah.
Right. Who's it for? Teams.
Yeah.
Why is it good for them? Okay. Everything underneath that. Right.
Yeah.
You showed this to me. I think this is brilliant. Now, this is not like everyone's sort of cup of tea, because they are a very text heavy sort of website landing page. So I'm going to throw this to Brian. You know the answer, but like I'm going to throw this to the audience. This how it's better. What are these? When we talk about jobs to be done, these things here, when they're saying how it's better, what are they talking about?
Someone's saying competitive set.
Yeah. It's the alternative solutions.
Yeah. And so it's the push, right?
Yeah.
The push away from what they're using at the minute.
Yeah. And I think this is brilliant. And you can, because they have a whole page that's like called before and after, where it's just job statements, right? Before, Basecamp, after. And this, guys, the whole point of this, what I love, unlike email where everything starts disorganized, this is when you're doing user testing and you can see people shake their head. They begin to nod because they're like, oh, I've been there. Oh, yeah, I feel this. And this is 100%, I'm getting warmer. This is red hot. I get this. They get me. They're going to be able to help me with this. And so if you can even surface consideration set, alternative solutions into the copy, it makes it that much more powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
This one, I decided to put up because everyone's joining Signal at the moment.
Yeah.
I was curious to see. Now, let's caveat this for a second. I doubt many people are searching messaging app and finding this organically. Yeah. I'm guessing 98% of the people saw something on their news or their friends said, I'm jumping off of WhatsApp, I'm going on a Signal.
Yeah.
So I think people here are clearly already problem aware and almost a bit solution aware when it comes to this. I don't know. How do you guys feel about this? So like, what is it? So it's like a messaging app. Who is it for? I think it's for everyone, right? Like I send cat emojis.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like if you look at the below the fold, it's like it's Edward Snowden. I use Signal every day. You know, it's Jack Dorsey. So you would think this is like really like tech savvy, crypto, security people, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they get that already. But when I look at this landing page and they have the cat emoji, I'm like, it's not just for Edward Snowden. It's for me too.
Yeah.
And what's the benefit to me? So I don't know what people think. You know, I throw it out to you guys. I just wanted to see, you know, this is super hot and everyone's talking about this right now. What do you think? What do you think, Ryan?
I think this is a difficult one for Signal because effectively the reason people are using this is because there's a huge push in the market from WhatsApp and their kind of data integration with Facebook. And so, you know, you would be very tempted to have something very prominently on the landing page that talks about fed up with big tech or Facebook specifically ripping off your data. Now, I know that Signal probably can't do that because they also have another business model which sells kind of messaging encryption and that kind of stuff to Facebook. So it's a difficult one.
So you're saying I should be on Telegram?
No, I don't think it compromises their proposition at all. I think it's just the kind of the baseline infrastructure, and Signal has nothing to do. The app has nothing to do with Facebook. So it's definitely my preferred alternative to WhatsApp. But they're hitting some like really hot push signals, I think. The hardest thing I think for them, which is what I'd be interested to have a look on their landing page for, is how do they get over those anxieties? Because there's so many, right? All my mates are on WhatsApp, all my clients are on WhatsApp.
Well, the inertia. I can't get any of my mates to join me, right? So the inertia of that.
Yeah. How do you overcome those very serious barriers? And I think that's probably more of the challenge for Signal than it is necessarily the kind of push and pull factors, because they're just so obvious, and that's what's driving people there already.
Could dial up the pain, right? Dial up the pain, maybe dial up the promise a little bit in the messaging.
Yeah.
But I saw speak freely, and I was like, interesting. Okay. And then it's like, I see Edward Snowden, but then I got caught with the cat emojis, and I was like, oh, okay. I get it. I get it. It's not just for Edward.
There's a couple of questions come through on this, a couple of comments. So Pascal was saying, actually, the messaging experience is probably not better. It's actually worse. So it's not about the experience. George Bailey was saying, why does Signal want me as a user? That's what I want to know. And then the job.
Maybe they don't know, right? Maybe they're just like, sweet, no one wants WhatsApp, we'll take you.
And then the job to be done should be get off your Facebook.
Without getting too eye pokey.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to poke that eye.
Otherwise, it just looks. I never like landing pages that focus too heavily on the downfalls of another company. You should be able to sell your own product based on the merits of your product. And there's a little bit of comparison here and there, like we saw with Basecamp, but you can't go overboard with that. It certainly turns me off when I see that. So someone's asking, can you share how you do the comprehension tests?
Yep. That's coming in a minute or two.
Yeah. And how do you know when you get something that's resonating? When do you then take it to doing the test in the ads? I think that's all coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Basically, they're impatient. They're like, enough with this Nopadon rubbish. Let's get to the meat. I don't blame you guys. I don't blame you. All right. So here's a company that I met, and I didn't work on it, but what's it do? What is this? What is it?
A learning platform, I'd imagine.
What does it do? Like, how do you use it? Like, what's
accelerate your learning? Try Bloom now. I don't know what that call to action is confusing. I have to say. I don't know what I'm supposed to put in there.
So we had a chat with him, and we're like, mate, don't know what you're on about. And so after a conversation, they didn't even do the comprehension test, but they just turned around, and this is sort of like they were doing a bit of a refresh, and this is what they came up with. And it is pulling way better, obviously. But again, if you look at it, this is around, what is the outcome? Become a better what? Who's it for? That thing scrolls: designer, journalist, undergrad, postgrad. What are the benefits to me? Oh, okay, I learn faster. I can remember more.
Yeah.
And so that is like, coming from here, which is like accelerate your learning, develop your thinking through online discussion. Who's it for? Like, what is it? I get, okay, accelerate your learning, but all right. I get this a lot. So how long does a kind of landing page be? I swear to God, this is Basecamp's page. I went into SEMrush to take a look at like if they had any landing pages. Yes, I'm not joking here. This literally is their landing page, and I printed it out in my bedroom and measured it out. And yeah, it was almost 4 meters long. But the point I'm trying to make here is a landing page is as long as it needs to be. As long as you get your information hierarchy right? If you start broad at the very top and you begin to drill down, and you drill down, right? You can have a long landing page. Look at Apple's landing pages. Look at any of those. They're long pages, right? And so don't get too obsessed with, it's got to, we have to have it like this size because no one's going. Well, you don't know. You have no idea. And if the information that you keep putting out there is useful and informative and people engage with it, they'll scroll, right? So don't be afraid to put out long landing pages. A landing page is as long as it needs to be. Okay.
Yeah.
Nearly 13 feet long, in fact.
Yeah.
Okay. Really quick. 4 forces. So I slapped this together super quick around the landing page, Unbounce that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
This is me personally, but like, what are some of the pains that I experienced when I was doing this kind of stuff? Yeah. My campaigns are tanking, right? Stuff isn't converting. My designs are totally crap. I'm not a designer, right? And so what's that other thing that's drawing me? Well, yeah, I want to smash my targets, man. I want to put out amazing work. I want to put out good work. I'm embarrassed to put out crappy work, right? I want to be better.
Yeah.
And then immediately I'm struck with, I suck at design again. And the thing with these landing page builders, they all look the same.
Yeah.
They're like a canned landing page, canned ebook, canned webinar page. Okay. So I have some anxieties around that. Like, I don't know if any other people have anxieties with landing page software. I don't know. Ryan, do you? You probably haven't had to need one. You guys like have a professional designer.
Yeah, I'm so lucky. I really am. Like, I work with amazing designers. Zach, who you work with as well, and Will and Matt, and they're all amazing. And we've got a really good marketing team as well. Like Mariette and her team are just class. So,
I don't know if this resonates with other people. Is what I guess I'm trying to figure out. If other people have if it's just me, that feels this, right? That they all kind of look the same. And
yeah, I think the other thing is, when I have done it, like things are, if you use like a tool like Unbound, and I've never used Unbound, so it might not apply to them. Things are hard to move around. So, the format that you had before with the, the social proofing and the features and benefits, if you wanted to get that exact kind of structure to your website, sometimes that can be quite tricky and hard.
Yeah. And then, like, the habit of the old, I just call it inertia, right? It's like, is this going to work? Like, I've got like a bunch of analytics. I got a bunch of back end stuff. Am I going to like connect to this stuff? I'm not going to ditch Pipedrive and whatever just because I'm using a new landing page builder, right? HubSpot, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm going to build it, but are the devs still going to have to put this live? Am I still going to have to get in the queue and like get that out? And yeah, I bet this thing is really just not that easy. What I've listed below, some of you will be familiar with this, but these are like some of the key drivers for this inertia. And when I'm speaking to startups, I can tell already based on the type of product where they're going to have problems. Change a habit, inability to try, price, cost of switching. It's an unfamiliar product category, requires a change in behavior. It's like multiple stakeholders. So if you work for startups or you work for like anybody in the audience right now, think about, put yourself in like your product that you're trying to sell. Can they easily try it? Is it really hard to switch? I had a startup that I was helping once that was doing CRM, and they were getting from clients, the anxiety is like, we don't know you, like, is this going to work? And they were like, okay, no worries, 60-day pilot, reduce that anxiety, crush. What was the next question? Okay, So if this doesn't work, how do I get my information back into Salesforce? Where's my data? And the guys were like, well, yeah. So do you think they had anybody switch to them?
Yeah.
Very few.
Yeah.
So that was that piece of inertia, that cost of switching was too much. So they had to come up with a hacky way of like being able to download and upload. And so go through your product and think about it. You know, are you trying to sell something new? Is it an unfamiliar product category? Good luck. Right. And so what I often tell startups, how do you use this, particularly on a landing page? So you've gathered this from the audience. Sorry, you gathered this from the interviewees, your prospects, and you're filling this out. Now your team has to think about tactically, how do we overcome that anxiety? What can we do to overcome that anxiety? Mattress companies do this all the time, right? 100 night free trial.
Yeah.
The inertia, what do? They always show it rolled up because many of us don't have cars. Oh, it'll fit in the cab. Right?
Yeah.
And so your job is to figure out tactically, how do we overcome some of this anxiety? The inertia, is it an unfamiliar product category? Okay, well, maybe do you need an explainer video? Do you need more documentation to educate people? Is it multiple stakeholders? Okay, do you have documentation? Do you have PDFs? Do you have other things that speak to those other stakeholders' needs? Inability to try, can you offer a trial, right? And so obviously this one size does not fit all, but like you really have to work hard, and there's only going to be so much you're going to be able to reduce that inertia. So what do you do then? Maybe you dial up the pain. And what do I mean by that? So maybe I can focus on like the pain of your campaigns tanking, or really dial that up, make me feel that more on the landing page. Maybe I'm able to dial up that in the ad copy.
Yep.
Maybe in the promise, I'll dial up the promise and make it that much more. I don't know, you'll be able to put out amazing work in no time or something. I don't know, that's horrible. But so okay, these are my 4 forces now. All right, this is a whole page, a landing page that I have. Again, this comes back to, what's that promise? Yeah, I do feel this pain. Yeah, I do need to sort of convert more, right?
Yeah.
And when you begin to sort of scroll down this page, this is where the 4 forces come back in. So yeah, they're talking about hundreds of landing page templates, right? And they're using this drag and drop, right?
Yeah. But
again, I'm doing this on my own. I don't need anyone else to do this. That's like that calls to me. My anxiety is that these landing pages all look like landing pages. They look cookie cutter. This is create the exact page you want, 100% the way you want them, customizable templates, blah, 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 blah. And again, anxiety / promise. Here they could have talked, a lot of people would be tempted to talk about AI conversion and A/B testing, but here it's like, no. Again, it's that sort of promise.
Yeah.
And so I keep scrolling down. Oh, they have a testimonial. Imagine that. And look, it doesn't say it was really easy to use. Look, it doesn't say like, it's hitting on that thing that I have the most pain around, which is conversions increased 70%.
Yeah.
If this wasn't a landing page, what I would normally tell people is next to earn worthy, or the call to action there would be see how. And this would lead to the case study.
Yeah.
People tend to have a habit of putting the case study in the top right-hand corner under the tab called case studies, which no one, unless they're super motivated, will ever find.
Yeah.
And so this is a great way to get people to read your case studies. Just put it in front of them. It's called relevant abruption, right? Stop them with a thing that you know that they care about. Again, you go down the page, and here they're sort of like appealing to sort of like there's a modality around like I can't remember the name of that modality where it's about like get it now quickly, like a sense of urgency. And there, inability to try, I'll take it for a spin. Preview it, try it, start a free trial, right? You know, I said the mattress companies do a really good job with reducing sort of anxiety, and I thought this landing page was really bizarre because it is 100% anxiety and inertia. That's all they're doing. And I think like the pain and the promise, I honestly think they've stopped doing like get a better night's sleep, wake up refreshed, because it's like maybe that's not working for them. Like they get it, right? Like, yeah, that's the point of a mattress. You're supposed to wake up refreshed. Yeah. So this page only deals with anxiety.
Yeah.
So will it work? 365 night free trial at home. Okay, but like what if it's junk? Lifetime warranty. Inertia. I don't have a car, and like I have to call the council to throw out my mattress, and the council says you can't put it out for another 2 weeks. Free delivery, easy setup. Financing.
What's your view on like having a mix of videos and images? Because videos take time, and
always be testing. Always be testing. I don't know, right? You could have an amazing video, and that's maybe all you need. I didn't actually watch this. Funny that you said that. I didn't even clock that it was a video. Maybe they're showing that this thing opens up and pops out, and boom, there you have it. One person can do it. Well, actually, no, there's 2 people in the video, but interesting. Yep. They're just tackling anxiety here. All right. Okay. Paper testing. So are you guys ready?
Yeah, let's do it. I think everyone's looking forward to this.
Okay. What was that?
Sorry, I was reading the chat.
No. So it doesn't have to be you. People in the audience. What was that?
By the way, that was the test. So you do 5 seconds or 7 seconds, however long that was.
Well, I'll explain it in a second. But what was
that? Someone's saying blood test.
Okay, blood test. Cool. What else?
That as a running photo, no lie. Regular blood test to get a personalized diet. Something with blood tests. Blood tests to help you have a healthy diet. Blood test.
Interesting. Good.
Training service. Blood test. No idea. Oops. Blood test. Running.
Good. That's like, so I'm going to tell you, so the guys that put this together are an actual, like a world-class marketing team. They're exceptional. And the reason it looks bunk is because we did it on obviously PowerPoint, right? And they were testing a new proposition that's outside of what they currently do. And so they wanted to test it, get it up, see if anybody was interested in it, right? If they could get a bunch of signups, a bunch of emails, then maybe they would build it. Okay. So congratulations. That's about the level of comprehension people had, right? About 10% comprehension. Here's the second attempt. Now, this is not fair because you guys know already what I'm about to do, but
yeah,
normally you wouldn't get this second attempt. What is that?
So your blood can tell you something about your food and your diet, or how you should exercise.
Better, closer, yep.
Same easy way to get a blood test, nutrition and workout plan. Am I sick? Improving health, personalized food plans.
Does anybody remember how much it was?
I don't. $19, $18, $19.99.
Nice. Okay, here you go. Final attempt. By the way, that got about 50% comprehension when they did it, which is about, and I'll tell you how you measure comprehension in a second.
Yeah.
What is it?
Personalized blood test service that will test the kind of, what is it, the vitamin D or something in your blood, and it will give you personalized diet, personalized health plan, and will help you stay healthy and fit for $19.
Anybody else put anything in the chat? Is that what people are putting in?
That was just what I put. Finger prick blood test.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What else? Okay.
Nothing else. Blood test at home.
Yes. So that's what we're looking for. So
blood test I can do from home. Yeah. All that's
so
coming through
it's an at-home finger prick blood test.
at home. Yeah.
And so when we run through this, guys, you can see that in a 5-second test, which is what you're going to get really when people are looking at landing pages, right? Unless you're hitting the mark right away. This sort of above the fold sort of comprehension.
So was this one here your first attempt at designing the landing page, and then you did the comprehension test, you got 10% or whatever it was,
yep.
and then you redesigned it and did.
So if you took your designer and you took this and you cleaned it up, whatever, blah blah blah, you'd have about a 90% bounce rate, right? Because people just didn't get it like quickly. And then you took this away, took them about. They showed about 10 or 12 different people, came back, same results. So they said, what happened? They're like, well, guys, no one's reading it. Okay. So what are the key features that we need? What are the key benefits that we need to highlight? Okay. And so now you see that they're beginning to use icons and sort of hierarchy, right? And this got about 50%. And you see it's like recipes emailed to you based on your blood, daily workouts based on your results at home, blah, blah, blah. And it's like people were still not getting that. And the third attempt, which had like in the high 90s, at home finger prick blood test. Boom, what happens? Then you get the results. Then you get personalized, right?
Okay.
And so, look, when you're doing this is the pushback that I get back from people. You know, what if they're not the right people? What if, guys, we're not testing to see whether or not they like it or whether they would use it. We are only testing to see if they understand it. Do they understand the language that is on that page? 90% is the average bounce rate right now for landing pages, right? So it's lower for other things, but for paid and SEM, and it's about 90%. Okay, you got loads of reasons. It could be slow pages. You could be doing a bait and switch and showing them something different. And if that's the case, you know, that's your fault. You could be asking too much. You could be, you know, you're asking for their, 15 fields on a landing page for, I don't know, you're asking too much. Or you could be targeting the wrong people, right? But one of the huge issues that I always see and that we run into is comprehension. People literally do not understand what you're talking about. And so what you're going to do is this laptop test, 5-second test, get on Zoom, can be friends, can be people you know, shouldn't be people in your company, friendlies. Show it to them for 5 seconds. Do not tell them you're going to show it to them for 5 seconds. Show it to them. Take it away like we did. And you ask, what do you think that website was about? What was that all about? See what they remember. Give it back to them. Let them have it this time for 10 seconds. Let them spend a little bit of time. Take it away again. So what do you think this product is? What do you think the service is? What does it offer? Now, the way you measure comprehension is your product may have 2 or 3, I call it 2 or 3 sort of key sort of propositions that you really have to nail, right? Just say 4 for the ease of math. For Thriva, it was at-home test. It was a finger prick blood test. It was exercise. You were going to get exercise and diet results after you got the results, and then it was like the price. I think it was 19.
Yeah.
So if you knew it was at home, finger prick, right? And you got like, it was going to give you exercise result. That was like 2 of the 4. That's 50%. Right? If they get, some of it, if they get one of it, it's 25%. Is that clear to people?
So are you breaking down the landing page into 5 key points you want the person to take away? So
what is essential for them to know what you do?
Yeah.
Right? So it's not enough to be a blood test, right? You have to know that it's at home. Oh, and it's finger prick, right?
Yeah.
Those are critical to the proposition.
Yeah.
That, this proposition would tell you, based on your results, we'll give you diet recommendations and exercise, right? That's part of the proposition. You need to know that's what it's going to do.
Yeah.
And again, I'm gonna stress, guys, this is not about, we want to get direction. Like, they were able to do this all in one day. They went from 10 to 90% comprehension in a day, right? They built those landing pages collectively in what? 30 minutes, 15 minutes a piece, 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So they took something and were able to get it in front of customers really quick, really dirty.
Yeah.
And they got directionally correct. And then you can go and you can build a nice landing page and you can massage the language. But I can tell you right now, you'll save a hell of a lot of PPC budget. You'll save a lot of bounces purely from gauging comprehension.
A couple of questions that have come in.
Yeah.
Why didn't you, or whoever did that, test at home in the main headline?
I can't remember. Honestly, don't. That's probably something they should have been. The way these, like, the program worked is like, you told them what to do and they sort of went off and did it, and they ran around Starbucks showing people. So it's a good question. I don't know why that wasn't.
Someone else asked, what about search intents? Taking them into account could also help execute landing pages. What do you think?
Absolutely. So again, search intent will help. So remember, we're doing our 15-minute page. Think about the traffic source and the call to action. Yeah, you're gonna get a little bit better comprehension on if the search intent is there, right? So if I am looking for a landing page builder and I come to it, okay, that's what I was looking for. And so yes, it will be better with search intent. But think of how much better it's going to be if you can do 90% comprehension with someone who's cold. Okay.
Yeah.
Directionally correct. That's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the last bit. And this is another thing that I find when people are building landing pages. So this again is that company Thriva, and my colleague, my friend Mo, taught me this little trick. Time and time again, when you see people with low conversion landing pages or a website or landing or homepage that doesn't convert, people will ultimately, first thing they will be drawn to is fix the form, optimize the form. We're asking too much. Reduce the form size, right? That's the first place lots of people will try to reduce friction. How many times have you been on a website that kept crashing, or you were trying to buy concert tickets or a trip somewhere and you kept refreshing and you kept smashing against this page over and over and over? Why did you do that? It was a crazy amount of friction.
Yeah.
Right? You did that because you wanted what was on the other side of the registration. You had a high velocity. So imagine every piece of friction that you hit on a landing page acts as a speed bump. Comprehension slows you down. Long form slows you down. By the end of it, you might not get anybody because they had so many speed bumps and just slowed them down and they weren't able to get to it. What I'm about to tell you is that your proposition, right, can speed up the velocity by which people hit that page.
Yeah.
Ryan, if I offered you £5 to fill out a 10-page form, would you do it?
Yeah.
Really? £5?
£5 for what, a 10-page? Depends how
10.
long the pages are, right?
10 pages of like, mortgage details.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, probably not.
Yeah. But if I offered you 1,000, would you do it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Without question. Guys, your proposition is either like the £10 proposition or the £1,000 proposition. And when we work with startups, one of the first things we do is we test this prop. And we were able to get incredible conversion results purely just based on that. We had a team that literally doubled their conversion, and by just adding the price. And we said, why did you wait so long to test that? And they said, well, who would have thought that it would have had such an impact? And we said, great, add £100 to the price and see if it makes a difference. And statistically, the conversion didn't drop off. So not only did they double conversion and add £100 to the price of the product, it was a very good day. Yeah. So okay, what you're going to do, again, typically on Facebook or something, what you're going to think about your proposition. And in this case, what we decided to do, this is no longer the exercise in diet one. This is just their normal website, right? About at-home finger prick tests. So there are three things that are happening here. Three core sort of propositions of their product. One, it's based in science. You don't rely on like gut feel, right? Rely on data, numbers that tell you. It's convenient, right? Because you can do it at home. You don't have to go to the NHS. And it's about being proactive about your health. It's not about waiting for your annual to figure out you got high cholesterol. It's about being proactive, like measuring it yourself. So what you're going to do is you're going to create statements in three distinct directions. It's based in science. Don't rely on feelings. Rely on science. Convenience. Test at home. Results in 48 hours. Right? Proactive. Now, what you end up seeing is when people put together, I'll get to proposition in a second, but when people put together Facebook ads, they munge all of these together. They'll do a combination of like, don't rely on feelings, at-home blood test, monitor and track your progress, right? And so they'll put all those three things into an ad. What I'm telling you right now is one of these is the $10 proposition, £10 proposition, and the other is a £1,000 proposition. One of these will pull better than the other. And if you mix this message, you won't be able to see. Now, again, because we're hacky and we don't have a lot of money and we're quick and dirty, I would create I would leave the image the same on the Facebook ad, and I would just change the copy. And I would let them run to get a few thousand impressions, and I would look purely based on click-through rates. If you have the luxury and the budget, you go ahead and test conversion all the way through. But the click-through rates will tell you immediately which one of these resonates more with that target audience. And if you find that more often, then go ahead and replace the landing page around that particular proposition.
Yeah.
And immediately, people will be hitting that page with far more velocity, right? As opposed to a meh.
Yeah. And so you're basically split testing these three messages on an ad, and then let's say convenience wins out. On your landing page, you've got your headline and what it is, and then
the job, what's the outcome, right? The benefit. But like really, it's around like we're trying to look in our research for stuff that it was around the convenience of it, the pain of it, whatever.
Yeah.
And you will see that one of these. So I did one where it was like an online tutor, and it was what was it? The options were, hey, you can choose the best in the UK, not just in your town. The other option was sort of like, it's safe. right? Because your kids aren't with a stranger or whatever. It's on video.
Yeah.
And then the third was don't get stuck in traffic. Which ones do you guys think pulled? And it was like 5% to sub 1%, by the way, in performance, one pulled.
What do people think?
Any guesses? Was it choose the best in the country, not just in your local area? Was it don't get stuck in traffic, or was it like it's safe because your kid's at home on a laptop, which every kid is doing now anyway?
Traffic, traffic, traffic. Best in country. Choose the best. Don't get stuck in traffic. Best in country. Traffic, traffic, traffic.
You guys are a lot smarter than me. It is definitely traffic. I thought for sure it was going to be have better tutors for your kid, but no, mom and dad are selfish and want to get stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
So, guys, that is sort of like we've got. It's like drinking from a fire hose. We've gone through a lot of stuff tonight really quick. And typically when we would do this, we would have several days to sort of digest.
Yeah.
But I just sort of want to give you a flavor of what you can do, right? This isn't rocket science. None of this is hard. All of you have the tools right now in front of you that you're able to do this.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for talking through that. That was great. There's a few more questions I'm going to kind of circle back on.
Can I, like, a quick plug? If you guys find this interesting, on Startup Core Strengths, we've got a newsletter. It'd be great if you could like sign up to the newsletter if you think this sort of information would be valuable.
Yeah. What's the website?
It's Startup Core Strengths. Here, let me just I'll flash it one last
Pop it
time.
up in the chat. And
it was a bit shameless, I know. Apologies.
No. It's I think the stuff you've gone through today is super interesting. And I think
there's the URL. So
oh yeah, brilliant.
And I'll by the way, we can what I'll do is I'll make this into a PDF, and then we can give it to anyone who sort of wants it.
Brilliant. That's really good of you. Thank you. Yeah, I think a lot of people I speak to that attend these events and that kind of read the content around this jobs to be done kind of community, they're always asking about how they can apply jobs to be done within their business. And this is a really clear example.
Do you have content, right? Do you have content? Do
Yeah.
you need to sort of educate? Do you need to nurture? Do you need to capture leads, right? If you're doing your jobs research, you know exactly where the struggle is and where they are in that journey, right? Yeah. And this is like copywriters / marketers' superpower is knowing jobs. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess you can use that to build anything really. If you wanted to build wait lists for products that are about to launch, or even kind of like getting people to sign up to your newsletter, you can apply that thinking from the kind of two extremes really. How do I drive traffic for a really, really big brand, or just a really personal thing that you're trying to push out?
If you think about sort of like gated content that people use a lot of times, right? That people will put out an ebook or a guide, right, for their target audience. You should know, like, in their sort of either the see, think, do, or sort of like awareness, consideration, close sort of sales journey that they're in. You should know what these people are struggling with if you've done your jobs interviews. You should know exactly what kind of progress that they're trying to make. And that, like I said, that content will write itself. If you know where they struggle, where they are in that journey, they're likely alternative solutions. That's your SEO strategy right there. That's your blogging strategy, right?
Yeah.
Anytime you have to write content, case studies, if you know what they struggle with, their outcomes, their anxieties, case study done.
Yeah. So it's kind of a 3-stage process, I guess. There's the jobs to be done understanding of the 4 forces. There's the kind of comprehension test of your 15-minute landing page creation, which maps the 4 forces onto the landing page. And then once you've done the comprehension test and you're happy with the comprehension score, it's moving that to a live environment where you're creating 3 different ads and seeing which ones have the best click-through rates and potentially even the best conversion on the landing page you've got live. Yeah.
If you ask anybody, maybe in the audience, like, when is the last time they tested the proposition, the homepage proposition, right? When is the last time? Normally people just sort of set it and forget it. It's just always been that way.
Yeah.
And so you'd be surprised testing it, what comes back.
But I think the interesting thing for me is the point about comprehension, because as you say, a lot of people think about the friction and what's the call to action, and that is important, but like the sign up forms and all of those things. But really, the comprehension of the message is something that I've not seen tested very regularly in the work that I've been involved in the past. I think that's the thing that comes.
It's hard for people to wrap their brain around, right? Because and the reason for this is they're so close to it. Because you live it. It's your product. You're in the marketing department day in and day out. You eat this product, right? And so it's really hard for you to take a step away from that and to see it through fresh eyes. As consultants, as like to do what I do for a living, it's quite simple because I probably have never seen it before, and it's stark. I see it right away. It's like, wow, I don't know what you're talking about. And then when you tell them that, they're sort of like, oh, I guess, okay, maybe we shouldn't be talking about AI or blockchain or machine learning or.
Yeah. So there's a few comments coming in. So Heather is saying there's a bit of a disconnect between the comprehension test and the A/B type tests. I would think that each of the different emphases would need to be comprehension tested. So I guess the 3 things in your prop wheel.
But the 3 things in the prop wheel aren't going to be radical departures from the 3 things from the prop wheel are not pulled out of sort of thin air, but are jobs that people have, right?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm sorry, but like convenience isn't a job, but it's an outcome, right?
Yeah.
And so those are going to be based on things that we know. And so you could technically do the comprehension, the prop wheel first to see what actually resonates. Normally, if I do that, then you need a page that it needs to land to. So that's why I've always done the page first but like I said, you're only spending, I don't know, 20 minutes creating, 15, 20 minutes creating a page. So good point. So was that Heather?
Heather, yeah.
Yeah, great point, Heather. Nice shout.
So Vanessa has said, we use jobs to be done in order to structure our content and build new landing pages and hub pages. We constantly struggle with the internal battle, SEO versus product management versus user. We all want the same thing, but struggle with getting things done. Any tips?
Okay, so, I've done SEO for a long time. It's one of my sort of like superpowers. When you start becoming obsessed with SEO, you begin to, your content becomes very robotic. And people begin to start writing for the bots instead of for people. And so as a guiding principle, customers first, because customers are going to be reading your content. If you are using stilted, weird SEO language, then you look like an idiot. And so you lose trust immediately. So customers, the North Star, right? Comprehension, solving their problem. Now SEO, obviously you're not going to throw that out. And so there are creative and good ways of optimizing pages and hub pages that blend outcome statements with imbalance with sort of the keyword that you are trying to. I guess what I'm saying, without context, without seeing, it's a balance. But I always put SEO copy second, because as soon as people begin to optimize, they're like, keyword here, insert keyword here, and all of a sudden your comprehension in your language just goes to hell.
Yeah.
It's so weird. You're like, who wrote this? It's like, oh yeah, it's for SEO. It's like, forget that.
Yeah, yeah. You showed me some great examples of that in the past. They were funny. Shifa has said, do you have any best practice examples of how to infuse jobs to be done throughout a business? So across marketing, product, support, customer success, etc.
So I just did come from City, where it did take like nearly 3 years to get it into City. First and foremost, like, look, it's case by case, but like, people don't want to learn a new framework. Some people do. Some people just don't want, they just want the answer.
Mm.
And one of the things you have to do is you just have to produce better work using jobs. And all of a sudden, instead of trying to convert the whole department, you make sure that your work is tight, and all of a sudden you realize that your work converts better, engages more, and then all of a sudden people wonder what you're doing. And then you can open up that door and talk about jobs. But for the most part, it's like, let me tell you about jobs to be done. I'm that annoying guy. No one likes that. Some people do. L&D, they loves that, right?
Yeah.
And so jobs, there's jobs for salespeople, as Bob will tell you. There's jobs for product people. There's jobs for marketing people. And there's jobs for the executive team. It's City, it creates an aligning factor. It creates a vocabulary for people to talk about things.
Mm.
And, when the number one thing I see with startups, and I tell them, and no one gets it, is like, you don't understand your customer. You don't know your customer.
Mm.
And you get the eye roll.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, no, you really don't. Not to the level that you need to.
Mm.
And so introducing jobs to an executive team is a great way of having a shared vocabulary around unmet needs, around inertia, around non-consumption, right? Product people should naturally gravitate to it, particularly like on the ODI front, right? Like jobs processes and stuff like that. Marketing teams will love the switch methodology, and they should be like today be able to make progress with it really quickly. And so, what do they say? Horses for courses, or courses, whatever. It's like jobs for very specific people can be used. But if you try to like force it upon people, it's like, I mean, we don't even have agreement, right, in the jobs community around like terminology and how to use this and that. So it's like, don't even try that. Just do good work using jobs. And then when they ask how you did that, like, let me tell you, it's called a desired outcome.
Just to clarify the terminology there, ODI is not the Open Data Institute, although I do love the work that they do. ODI is outcome-driven innovation. It's a different type of
strategy
to the four forces which we've been through today. Is it any different kind of like implementing jobs to be done across the marketing, product support, and customer success in the startups that you're working with, compared to like the big corporate clients like City that you've worked for in the past?
Startups are a million times easier to do it because one, time is against them, and these things can quickly drive results, tangible results. And so time is not on their side. They have burn rate, they've got a little bit of cash, and they're looking for that elusive traction / product market fit. And if they don't get it, you're done. Cities and big, institutions and incumbents, they're not hurting, right? If I need a startup to get on board, teach them jobs, we'll guide them through customer interviews, sit through that, they'll turn around and they'll call customers like in 15, 20 minutes. I'll be interviewing customers tomorrow. Corporate's harder, right? It's like, how do you get to the customer? Yes, there are lots of services used, like you use user voice and all those other, there's ways of doing that. But the inertia within the company to actually, excuse my language, get shit done is much slower. And so I find that startups generally see the results of jobs work much faster. Doing one good interview changes their landing page or their thinking immediately because they're hearing it from the customers.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Right, I'm going to do one more question, and then we're going to wrap up. From Matthew, who said, "Do you think jobs to be done can work effectively when marketing a commodity product like energy supply?"
So maybe. So my brain immediately goes to what part of the energy supply is it, like B2B, B2C?
I guess just your energy provider, so British
Yeah.
Gas or
And
Npower.
so, okay, so there's let's think about like your energy provider. Go home tonight. What are the four forces? What pain? What is the pain? You know, why do people switch? Why do people
I
switch all
think,
the time? Is it because they take the mic? Yeah. Right. So there's a pain there. There is an unmet need there.
yeah, yeah.
Around transparency, around am I getting the best rate, around you probably could.
Yeah, I think you could. I think, the function is undifferentiated. Everyone's gas, everyone's electricity is exactly the same. But I think the key differentiating point here is when you tap into those emotional jobs around, those kind of trends around sustainability, green energy, all of those kind of things. There's probably some push as well around like, I hate kind of like taking the readings on my meters and like,
Yeah.
all of those kind of
The
things.
smart meters,
Yeah,
some of the emotional jobs on the smart meters.
yeah, and then
Know
you're
where you
moving into
are at any time of the month, and
yeah, then you're moving into other jobs to be done completely. It's not buy my energy; it's manage my home.
yeah,
And then that gets really interesting.
what he said. Absolutely.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you,
No,
Knox.
thank you,
That
thank you
was
guys
really,
for
really,
having me.
really insightful.
I really, like I said, like I really enjoy just like uh, being in front of the jobs audience, because like we don't have to start at zero, right?
Yeah.
Like, so thank you so much for inviting me to do this. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys can see like this isn't hard. Like you have the tools in front of you, you can do this, and you should be able to make progress fairly quickly with it.